Okay, it's 6 o'clock, folks. I'll call the meeting to order. Would you please join me in saluting the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank everybody for coming tonight. We said we would devote the first half hour of the meeting to talk about roads in town and looking for town input as to what you folks in the town think we should be working on. To deal with that, Brian has put together a matrix that tries to quantify all the roads that we had plans to work on. And I think we're going to hear today that we'd like to add some more to that matrix, which is fine. So, Brian, you want to talk to it?
I was making sure here. So, the Petertown Road, we're allocating 90. No, we allocated 33. That's what it is. All right. Here's the sheet that we created a few years ago. We've deleted some of the older projects, and we've still got the last few on there. 2014, we completed Lyford Road. Projected cost was $99,000. Final cost was $86,000. 2015, we did Stoneham West. Projected cost $83,909. Final cost was $81,622. Then Stoneham East, which was the largest section. Projected cost, here he is, was $98,386. I think we came right on budget on that one. This year we intended to finish Bryce Drive, which is a relatively smaller project with a cost of around $34,000. Just due to the ongoing issues with getting surveys done and poles moved and whatnot, that has not happened this year. So then we were projecting in 2018 to take a look at Moose Mountain Road. That is definitely having some issues. That's projected cost of $77,900. And then the final for 2019, we were looking at Pike Brook Road, which is around $58,000. And these costs are all based upon 2016 rates for asphalt, gravel, grinding. I know Marilyn, John, you guys came in, you were discussing on possibly doing your road as well. Eddie, did you ever get a chance to measure that out?
I did not get a price on it. I have a link, but I didn't get a chance to get a price.
All right, how long was that?
I can go try to find it in scratchings, but it's like 4/10 of a mile.
Okay, so that's around
3/10 of a mile.
I had someplace it was 3/10.
Okay, yeah, might be 3/10.
All right, and just for everyone, what's the name of the road that we were looking at getting done? Tucker Road. Right, I just want to make sure. And Tucker Road currently is a dirt road, so there's just consideration of turning that dirt into pave. So those are the roads that are on the list. So obviously, we'd like to get those done, and then we decide to either find new problem areas or circle back and do some of the roads that we did previous. Open to any other public comments. Anyone wants to talk about other roads that want to get done, problem areas, stuff like that.
Does that $34,000 for Bryce include legal and survey costs?
All this includes is the gravel grinding and pavement. That's what this whole thing entails. Just those particular items, not ditch work or any kind of site prep.
Under the right to know law, I'd like to know what the legal and survey costs. You don't have to give it to me tonight.
Yeah, we don't have it on hand, but yeah.
I would like to have that if you could email at the secretary.
Could you be just a little clearer? What are you looking for with respect to?
I'm trying to find the total cost.
From time zero or this year?
No, total cost.
Okay, going back
going back at least 2 years.
Okay.
Maybe 3 years.
Yeah,
I think it started in 14.
Maybe 5 years.
Yeah, okay.
So survey costs and legal costs, right?
Yeah, add it to the 34.
Well, that 34 is the other half to get done. So you want just the cost, legal and survey cost.
Yeah, well, I want to be able to calculate the total cost for that project.
Yep. That's fine. But I have to make sure we're getting the right thing. I don't want to set
Right.
stuff up for you. All right?
Last time you asked if Tucker Road had stone walls on it,
Yes.
and I'm just curious what the significance of that is, because it does have almost up to our property, there are stone walls, there are bits and pieces.
Eddie could probably explain it better, but the overall gist of it is the original stone walls throughout Brookfield are original property markers, property lines. If they're new stone walls or if they've been dismantled and moved, which they're not supposed to by law, it could skew things. But that's why it's a good general guide. Eddie's that more or less right?
Yeah, it's what the town maintains between stone walls.
What
Yeah,
we've learned is before we pave anything, we better be real sure where the right-of-way is. So the stone walls, you know, I asked the question, was it a deeded road? I don't think it is looking at it. It's most likely a road by default prescription.
Right. Right.
Which means because we've been using it for so long, between that defined area. I would still recommend that we have a surveyor say, this is the center of the area. If we're going to pave it, this is what we should pave. Any other input on roads? Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, how are you making out on that survey for Bryce Drive?
I've called and asked for an update, and they haven't called me back.
We have for an update.
So-
It's been 5-6 weeks now.
It has, it's been an awful long time to get an update. And I think that I'm being pretty patient with this, but I think that you need to move it along a little bit too.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Stengel.
Survey, why is it only on one side of the road?
Because we're just dealing with Mr. Donnelly's property.
Just his property?
That's the only place we're getting challenged on where the right-of-way exists.
Well, the right of way goes, road has two sides, right?
Yes. If you're advocating we do both sides, we'll take that as input, if that's what the residents want.
Well, I just think, you know, you want to know where the right of way is, I mean, both sides of the road have input on where the road is. You know, the road's not one-sided, I don't think.
What are you suggesting, we do both sides?
Do a complete survey, not just a piece of it.
Okay.
I mean, this is what happened 4 years ago. Did a quickie piece of it, which ended up being wrong. And you also rehired the same guy that did it improperly the first time. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, that's your opinion.
Well,
Okay.
Well, I actually am under that opinion too.
Good.
So it's not just Mark's opinion.
All right, we
Because
need
it
to
does
talk about
affect my
future.
property.
We need to talk more about future road projects, not your legal issues. All
No, it's your legal
this
issues.
isn't a legal issue, it's
Okay.
right, thanks, guys. So we're looking at roads, projects, problem areas. That's what we're looking for. Right now, we're looking at hopefully finishing up Bryce Drive next year. That would be, again, approximately 34 grand. Moose Mountain's a pretty sizable project. It's 78 grand. Eddie, do you see a prioritization here, or do you have any other input on other areas
No,
that we
I
really need
think-
to address?
Having gone over that a few times, I think that's a good,
Staying on schedule?
yeah. Yep.
Well, I would ask any more input, any more roads that should be considered,
Considered for what?
paving, or any other necessary maintenance, we'll keep it open. Go ahead.
I'd just like to talk about Tumble Down Dick.
Okay?
I mean, it gets there seems to be a lot more traffic on the road, and the two big hills seem to get very, very washboard very quickly. I mean, I know Eddie grades them a couple times a year, and they're great right after they're graded, but the big hill especially gets washboarded. And the other side of that is the first big downhill in the spring gets rutted big time, you know, mud. It gets, because I don't think the sun gets to it as much as the big hill going up. The big hill doesn't get rutted, but it just gets washboarded quite a bit every summer. And I think the increased traffic, there's now 3 permanent residents that live beyond that point. And over on Camp Road, there's a couple of houses that they do use a lot more in the winter than they used to. So I think the increased traffic is causing some of this necessary increased maintenance maybe.
Ken, the big hill, just for clarification, is that from the hunting camp up to where you are?
Yes, yes.
And then the next hill would be from there?
No, that's the big hill that I'm talking about going up. The downhill slope is the one going down towards the hunting cabin.
Okay.
That's the one that in the spring and in the winter, if you get a thaw, it gets deeply rutted. I know the uphill portion, the big hill uphill that Eddie put that material on 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah, at least 5, yeah.
That doesn't get rutted. I think that stuff still got in there and created a pretty good base, so it doesn't rut.
Was it like a gravel you put down there?
It's ground up asphalt.
Is it worth maybe considering doing that?
But it goes to washboard again.
Yeah. But it washboard even before he did that.
Right.
I just think that's so steep, you know, and that a lot of people just don't know how to drive on a big hill like that, and they just go flying up, and once it starts, it just...
Part of the issue is that hill faces due south, so it gets the sun and dries out and makes it very loose. And the hill going the other direction gets no sun, and that's why it holds that moisture in for the springtime.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have projected costs to pave the 3 hills. And one was the first one coming in by the largest culvert, the one that has the ledge on the right side that always washes out. And then we had a price for paving the long hill down to the camp and a price for paving out of the camp up the hill. So, I mean, we do have those numbers. I have them somewhere.
Okay, so I was gonna suggest, is that what you would recommend, by the way? We pave those?
It's either that or I can...
Or is that the fix?
We can, that's a good solid fix, but if you remember, when I brought you those figures, it was pretty expensive, so.
Yeah, I think we should just put them on the list. Right?
Yeah, I was writing it down here.
Yeah.
So get those numbers, we can add it to the list and see if when we start to do the projection for next year's budget, either we work it into Bryce and put a new smile on, or figure it out.
Get a plan.
Yep.
Sure.
How many year-round residences, not people, but buildings, residences do we have on Tumbledown Dick?
Not a heck of a lot. 4 or 5, right? If I'm more than that.
Oh, much more. I'm talking from the
I think meant from the hills.
the whole thing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You coming from Chase's, or you coming down your way?
All the way. Right from the beginning, I think is what
Yeah.
Frank was
Yeah.
asking. My rough count includes 9.
And then you got Camp Road,
Then Camp Road.
another
right.
7 or 8 down there.
Yeah, but those.
But no permanent residents yet.
Right, but.
No, I'm only talking people who live there year round.
No, that's what they
That was the question.
That's
I
right.
believe it's
Okay.
9.
Okay.
So it's a sizable
Good.
amount of houses on that road, so. All right, so we will add that to our list of potential projects with the potential fix of paving the hills and see if that gets us somewhere. Yes?
Hi, I'm Pam Skeffington. I live on the same road. I'm wondering, before you get to the end point of a fixed project, if you could perhaps increase the maintenance of it, the frequency of the maintenance of
You
it.
mean like the grading and
Yes.
so on?
Yeah, because I'm still working. I'm not one of the retired people on the road. I leave at 6 o'clock every morning, and last year was the first time I experienced that, and it was interesting. I think you're doing a great job, but it's still very interesting at 6 o'clock in the morning to experience that road in the winter trying to get to work, and then deal with you know, my 8 hours of teaching.
Sure,
I would
sure.
go in white knuckled and, you know, the whole bit. So perhaps in the interim, you could look into just, rather than maybe 3 or 4 times swiping through, you could increase that because of the volume of traffic that's now being on the road. And I agree, I am part of that volume, but I know how to drive on the road.
I hear it. Now, when you say 3 or 4 times swiping through,
I don't know how much is being done.
okay, well,
I'm not
you don't
the
mean
expert.
plowing, you're talking about actual grading the road?
Yes, I am, because it's like.
Typically, we were grading it 3 times a year.
All
Yeah.
right.
And I would have to disagree with you folks. I think there's even more year-round home. I think there's 11 or 12.
Okay.
So, I mean, it certainly justifies, like Lyford Road 5 times a year, so we can bump it up.
Yeah, that sounds like it has to happen.
Right, yeah. Yep. And to help to projections for road projects next year, I don't think we ever got a traffic count on Tumbledown Dick. It was always on Moose, but I can request a traffic count on that road, and that'll help us gauge what we need to do.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of, like FedEx and, you know what I mean, trucks.
Yeah, deliveries.
Yeah, deliveries, there, that's a good way to
And
describe
you have
it.
seasonal increases on that road, like hunting season,
Sure.
it can double.
Yeah,
And mud season, it could double.
yeah.
Because we get a lot of people with mudders that go out there that go out into the woods. And so you got springtime mud season, it doubles for a period of time.
Right.
And then hunting season, it could double for hunting season. Bear, deer, moose.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have another comment about Tucker Road. It was in the paper last week about, I mentioned the dip in Governor's Road, that you need to look at that. You can't fix Governor's Road, I know that. But what needed, I didn't mean, it wasn't that. It's the gully that comes across Tucker Road before you go on to Governor's Road.
Right at the scene, right at the meet.
Yeah.
That was there today, and it's on the actual exit side. It's where everybody turns to go, and you hit the pavement and bump, and it's getting a hole in there now.
And but because there is a dip in Governor's Road, you come up, you stop, you look left, you look right, you look left, you look right, you go, I hope there's nobody coming. And then you get stuck in that little gully, and everybody's wheels are spinning in that little thing because they're trying to get out fast, and all the hunters are there too. So and what I happened to mention it last time because I had talked to Brad Williamson, and he said he always tried to get an apron, at least on the edge there, to avoid that mess.
We have talked about implementing to get aprons on all our dirt roads 20 to 30 feet in, because it's an acceleration thing. Just like you say, you kind of panic because you can't see out of the gully, so you get on it to get out there and get going with traffic, and that's the cause of it, tire spinning.
And now Tucker Road, it's the whole thing. I used to try to avoid the right-hand side because everybody else was using that, so I'd go to the left, and now I go to the left, and it's all a gully over there too.
Yep.
Okay. So I wrote that down, possible aprons
Aprons
on
for the dirt roads.
for the dirt roads. Yes.
We're having the same problem on Bryce Drive too, at the beginning
Yeah,
by
at the beginning where it's
109, it's getting dug up and there's big holes getting in there, so I really think something needs to be done there before winter. It's gonna just get worse, not only that, but it is a bus stop, and the kids are coming out of the bus, and I think it's a safety hazard also.
So the end of Bryce.
Yes, Mark.
And Bryce needs to be graded before winter. It's getting full of potholes.
Okay, got your input. Not gonna happen?
No. not this
Why?
year. Because I didn't, there's only potholes at the ends, and I was over it twice today. It's a little rough because of the rocks, because it's dirt, it's not smooth like pavement, and it's starting to freeze up, so it won't be happening this year.
It'll thaw by the end of the week.
Maybe, but it's not on my agenda right now.
You got
It's
snow
not good gravel in
and
there either.
some of those
What's that?
potholes.
It's not
so.
good gravel in there either.
No, it's not.
That's on a real rough road mix it was set.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even.
Okay. Yes, Diane.
Bryce Drive is a mess. Eddie may say there's no potholes, but there's many potholes. The part that was, that he dumped stuff in and graded, that's beautiful, but the rest of it is It is a mess. It's gonna be a mess all winter, I guess.
I think so. Until it freezes over and then you get a nice layer of ice and salt, sand. Any other input on roads? Yes, Ken.
I'm not sure if it's part of the rebuild the bridge project, but that culvert that was done a few years ago, just before Rick's house.
Rick's house. Oh, the bridge.
The bridge. I don't know if redoing that culvert or at least paving over that would extend down that far to smooth that out.
You talking about the bridge or pretty?
Well, it's part of the bridge project.
Yeah, okay.
You know, you know what I'm talking about. They redid a culvert a few years
Oh,
ago.
in front of Craig Evans' house?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a pretty good dip to it now, especially in my truck. It's not so bad in my wife's car, but in my truck, it's a big bounce.
We need to, I would suggest that the four of us drive around these roads. We can schedule a time and we can go for a ride.
So that's on Moose Mountain near Craig Evans?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's
Password.
between the new
Right.
house on the left and Rick's.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I didn't know as part of the bridge project, you know, how much is gonna be torn up and resurfaced as part of that,
Right,
so.
right. Yeah, because if the culvert's starting to collapse, you probably need to, do you think it's a new culvert we need to get in, or just?
No, that's why that was done. That was a new culvert put in.
You know, say it's a culvert's not even whole, so
Right.
we just need to repave it, or?
We'll take a look at it.
Okay. I'll just hit Dick first and then I'll hit you, Peter.
Okay.
Please.
Hey,
Yes.
I go?
You.
Okay. If you're gonna ride around town, take a look at Sanborn Road. A lot of us in Cedar Park are not using Bryce Drive, we're using Sanborn Road. And the lower section of that near Martin's house is washed out. Especially bad after the
Got that storm in.
3.1 inches of rain that we had. It's only gonna get worse.
And that's only Jim Martin's house, kind of around near that
Yeah.
bend, like, okay.
Yeah, the rest of it's in pretty good shape. But where the hill is going down at Piney Road, that's been washed out.
Okay. I'm sorry, I meant to go back to this.
I don't know what's going on with Robinson Road, whether that is a town road or if it's a private road, but I know there's an orange cone sitting in a hole there. And then there's another orange cone, I guess, where the road comes across, and it got washed out. But that's happened a couple weeks ago or something like that. Is anybody working on that?
Yeah, we dropped the culverts off for it the other day, and
So I thought I saw.
yeah, we're gonna replace that culvert. So whoever put that in, they put two different sized culverts, and they put the smaller one downhill, so the water goes alongside, it goes halfway through and starts washing out the lower half, so we're just gonna replace it all with a
Yeah, because I
new.
thought I saw one over when I
Yep.
saw the cones.
Yep,
Yeah, I just think that maybe there's a better way of marking the road that's there than a cone sticking in the hole. Yeah.
Take a look, see if there's something else we can do, need a stake or something. Sorry, I'm just trying to
Take
keep
your
notes
notes,
here.
take your notes.
Yes.
Well, since we're talking about washed out roads, guess what? Tucker Road, of course, is washed out too.
Yeah.
It has its gullies coming down the little hills. Write that down.
I got Tucker on here, so I'm gonna be taking a drive down Tucker anyway, so.
We're gonna take a ride around. We're gonna take a ride around. We'll take a ride around.
When you're in truck.
Drive a 3/4 ton truck though when you go riding around.
Yeah, right, well, that's what I'm making good.
We got Thanksgiving coming, so best I can do is like early December, or the week of the 28th. Here's our calendar.
Wanna go this week?
Yeah, God. Anytime after the 26th, I can do.
Okay.
That's a Sunday.
Okay.
Sunday afternoon?
Can do it.
Sunday afternoon?
Right around?
Sunday afternoon?
November 26th.
Is that this coming Sunday?
No, the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Oh, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't see why not.
All right, let's do. You think 2 hours is gonna be long enough if we started 2? That's a little humor.
Well,
Very little.
I'm picking up on it.
All right, we'll do, it's gonna be that afternoon. Let's pick a time later. Pick up on the weather, but we'll do that afternoon.
Make sure we got light.
That's right.
I think, you know, you talk about driving a truck around, I think what you want to do is take the best vehicle you have and drive that over the roads and see if it's something you want to drive your good vehicles over all the time.
I actually kind of agree with Diane on that because not all of us are privileged to own a truck.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't have one.
Well, you just don't want to destroy a good vehicle.
No, I
Like
agree.
was saying.
Yeah.
We all set? On roads? Yes, Ken?
Related to roads, street sign, is
All
that
that-
that appropriate?
Do it now, do it now.
Okay, Tumbledown Dick has been without a street sign for at least a year, if not
A year.
year and a half.
Yeah.
It's gotta be in somebody's home nearby though.
Well, I know that, but it keeps disappearing, but
All 12 of them?
Yeah.
Rich and I talked about this a little bit a while ago, and talked about, you know, trying to maybe come up with some
New
more
name?
more difficult way of the kids getting it. And one of my just as we were talking, one of my suggestions was, you know, take a 10 or a 12-foot lolly column, sink that,
He's heard
and
it.
weld the sign to the top.
He's heard it.
That's just a suggestion that we
I
were
know,
talking as we were ad hoc.
I'm trying to figure it out because they keep walking.
Right.
I think a steel bracket would through bolt the sign, grind the heads off. See, even when we thought we had it the last time, which was about a year ago, maybe less, but it wasn't there very long before it disappeared.
Okay.
They actually just took the sign back and forth and broke the top of the bracket off, because it's cast
I
away.
could put that one back if you want.
Did you hear that, sir?
So, problem solved.
Probably got a few to pick from.
That's what I was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
we-
want tumbled down, okay.
Rename the road?
Yeah.
No.
I knew that. That was a suggestion too, but I knew that would
That's
get.
a different issue.
And, you know, it's, you know, the fire and the police, not being local, even though they're Wakefield, you know, they force us to make sure we got those big numbers on our houses or on our driveways. But they don't know all the roads, because when we had that fire on the lake a year and a half ago, people were down my driveway. I said, "Did you go down Camp Road?" Guy said, "Isn't this Camp Road?" I said, "No, this is my driveway." So some of the Wakefield people that respond, emergency responders, don't know the area as well as, you know, we might think that they should.
And
So I think a street sign, making sure it's up.
Well, they're as good as the 911 data. So,
some of the issues we had they called in fire departments from out of the area.
out of the area,
Acton
not
came-
Wakefield. Wakefield
Acton-
knows where
I
it
think
is.
so, but Acton came in.
This is the Wakefield fire truck that was down my driveway.
Oh, okay.
It was the Wakefield fire truck. I said, "Excuse me, can I help you?" He said, "Yeah, we're looking for the fire." I said, he told me where he was. He said, "Try Camp Road." He said, "This isn't Camp Road."
All right, Ed, well, you have a solution, so we go with it. Do
I
both through
I
and.
called the state twice today to get additional signs, and I haven't got through to them. I'll call them twice.
All right.
Yeah, they're really not expensive.
Right.
We just
Put them up higher. I don't know.
order a
Well,
stop.
there's actually a criteria that,
Okay.
you know, sign size, color, and height.
Okay, anything else? Mark?
Talking to culverts, the one on Bryce Drive, the remaining one of 3, has been half filled in. And I believe a resident has spoken to you about it being half full.
Yeah, I think we're gonna fill it all the way.
We're gonna actually rip it out when we get to pave it, just before we pave it.
So what's the purpose of a culvert if you're filling it in?
He's gonna take it out. Culvert's coming out, it's gonna be filled in.
It's no longer has a purpose. So
I mean, that's flat land over
Do
there.
you
What's
live
over
there?
What's that?
Do you live there?
I do not.
Then how do you know it's not needed?
Okay.
It was put in there.
I guess
and-
probably you have more education on that than I do.
Okay,
I'd say
guys.
so.
All right, so.
The intent is to get rid of the culvert, that's why it's happened. That's why I remember
But in the
you brought it up.
meantime, it is a safety issue. Being half full and, since the road has gone further over there, as that
We will look at
other
that.
resident said, you wouldn't want to put a wheel in there.
Okay, we will look at that. That we'll look at. Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you. Now we're gonna get on to our regular meeting, and you feel free to stay. Peter, you asked to be put on the agenda.
Right.
Do you have anything else to say, or you?
I do have some other things to say. One of the things is I think I'm having issues with is how you're keeping us informed on what's our progress is on the road and that type of thing. I know I've made a couple of phone calls at one day. I made one phone call to you. I made one to Rick, and neither one of you responded to my phone call.
Let me tell you where I think we stand.
Right,
We were ready to move that pole back
right.
to where we thought the right-of-way stood.
Mhm.
You came out and you pointed to a pin in the ground and said, this is the property line.
That's been the property line for years.
We don't agree with that, so we're gonna have it surveyed. We'll compare it against your survey.
Right,
If we don't agree, if we can't resolve it, we go to court, let the court take the place.
that's fine.
And so where we're at right now is we're waiting for our surveyor to come back with his data.
I guess what bothers me about that is then why did the road agent come down and spray paint 11 trees there without knowing that that wasn't the pin?
We thought the pin was back first.
You thought, but you didn't know, and that should
Okay,
not have
look.
been done.
I gave you the scenario.
Right.
We're gonna get our surveyor, you give us your surveyor. If we can't resolve it, we go to court, we've done that before. We know that that's the process.
I
And until you
understand
see
that.
until you see us come back to you with where our surveyor says the line is, there's no progress. So we're waiting on our surveyor.
And there's no progress from Eversource either, is there?
They're not gonna move until we show them the plot
All right.
plan.
But it's been how many weeks on the surveyor?
It's been 5 weeks.
Hmm.
It could be 5 more. I can't push them.
No.
We can push them, but when it gets done, it gets done. We're in the queue.
All right. We've been waiting, what, how long now? Since, June, July?
We thought we were gonna be done in June. We put the letter out. We thought we understood where the boundary was. You came in and said, I don't think so, fellas.
Well,
So that
I've
stopped
been-
everything.
You know, the past 5 years, I've been questioning that, and nobody's really responded to me or listened to me. They just were going to do what they wanted to do, and that was my problem, okay? Every time I asked about up there, they said, oh, no, we're all set. Don't worry about it. We're all set. Don't worry about it. And I knew you weren't all set there,
Okay. That's where we stand.
okay?
You have anything else for us? Okay. Okay. Let's do approval of meeting minutes.
October 24th first.
We got a couple. Yeah. We got a 24.
I'll make a motion to accept the October 24th minutes as drafted.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Make a motion to accept the October 26th minutes as drafted.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
You're gonna pass me anyway.
Any more public comments on anything other than road? Yes, we have a hand.
Yes, I've been reading the minutes for the past months, a couple months about, I'm curious, I haven't seen much about the progress of the bridge, Moose Mountain, what the current status of the examination of that is and what's going forward.
We went out with, we signed a contract with an engineering company to do the analysis, the engineering work this year. We gave them $13,000 and change. And
I would be glad to
go ahead,
take up there if you want me to.
Take the next part of it.
They came out after that deposit and they did some more preliminary work, or investigating, if you will, not work. And then they came back. I called and asked for a status report, and we met one more time out there, and they brought me some other scenarios on what to do. And of course, I can't make the decision, that's the selectmen, so we waited another 2 weeks, I think it was. Had them, presented it to the selectmen, declined, which is what I would have suggested anyways, and stick with the original plan. And then that was 3 weeks ago or more. And I called 2 weeks, I called after the Wednesday after the last meeting. So that was 3 weeks ago, asking them for an update. And, we're at the mercy of these people, surveyors, engineers. We get on the list, they do their work when they do their work, and
the economy's booming.
Yep.
It's true. So it's kind of hanging right now, waiting to hear what the proposed fix would be.
Well, no,
So we do know, if it's all right if I
go
say
ahead.
it.
We know what it's going to be.
So what we've asked for, and they suggested something different, and then we went back to that. What is proposed is we're gonna fix the wing walls in the abutment, rip the deck off, and put a new deck on that is parallel.
Sure. Yes.
And two lanes.
Very
It'll
nice.
be as wide as as Rick's end,
Yep.
so 2 cars can pass on it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it'll be height adjusted, because I think the present deck is like 3.5 feet thick.
Yep.
And so there's some, and then there'll be some other associated work with it. There'll be some better drainage put in, so to protect it from happening again and all of that, so.
Yeah, the issue is erosion under that one wall.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
Okay.
Will that likely be the time when the culvert by Craig's is addressed as well, or is that separate?
Yeah, because, sorry. So I think you'll find on further out in the projection, Moose Mountain, the lower portion of Moose Mountain should go on at further projected out. I think, what are we at, 19, Brian?
Yes.
2019? That needs to be redone, and they got this super crown on it, and it needs to be brought into more modern standards. And
Well, Moose we got the 2018.
that's the top half that never received official pavement.
He wants to add a Moose lower
The
part.
lower part, because we have
Yeah.
Moose Mountain 2,400 feet, but we know that road's a heck of a lot longer than 2,400 feet.
Yeah.
So that's the top part, so we have,
Right. So I would just suggest that, maybe if it is a problem, whatever that problem is we can just fix it with some shimming for now. In the spring, if the weather holds and I can get to it this fall, I got a bunch of coal patch coming, so if it's a matter of coal patching, we can do that this fall. But if it's more than coal patching, we'll have to probably wait till spring.
Well, you mentioned that cold patch will also include the corner on Garney.
Corner on Garney, the potholes on upper portion, even though we're gonna redo that, there's a few here, there, and everywhere, all over town. Yeah, there's probably, I'm guessing there's 3 to 3.5 tons worth of coal patches.
The dirt strip up on the top of Moose Mountain Road, is that gonna be cold patch, or is that gonna stay?
That's gonna
As
stay
is.
dirt until that's in that section that's on the
Okay.
agenda there.
Yep.
And that's in the shade, so that's held up nice.
Nice.
Okay. Treasurer?
Treasurer, here I am, ready. We currently have a little over $600,000 in the bank. I have payroll checks for you to sign, and I also have starting the budget process tonight. What fun. So I have prepared, I don't have many numbers yet, but I'll get more. So we can, at the end of the meeting, if you want to, we can start on this.
Yep.
And see how far we get, but I have filled in the numbers I have. The only ones I pretty much have are from the agencies, outside agencies that requested money. There's something else I need to tell you.
You're going to tell us how much money was left after you wrote the bills tonight. That's the path we're going down. 600,000?
Yeah, but we've got the bill from the
County?
From the county.
We should pay that now.
We should pay that now. It's $131,144. And I have the school this month is $70,554, and then $7,000 for the last half of Gaffney Library. So these will be fine. I am still collecting information on the transfer between the trustees of the trust funds and the town. I will owe them more this year than they owe me, because we didn't do the road projects and other things. So that's about another $150,000. So we're getting down there. So Diana's money will help.
No pressure though, right?
No pressure. So do have Troy things, can I do requests at this point for things?
Oh, let's do it later.
Okay. All right, so then that's it for me for now. We do have paychecks to sign as well as bills for you to approve.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Diana, do you have a report tonight?
I have a letter I need signed for the Salmonville Water District.
I remember that one.
Huh? Again, I want to get this in the mail tomorrow, so if you guys can sign it now, I can put it in the envelope. This is done every year, Rick, for your benefit. Salmonville Water District's wells are in our town.
Right.
The law reads that a town cannot tax a water district or something about another municipality. What can be done is something called a payment in lieu of taxes, which can be put on the town, and that's what this is. It's done every year. You see the heading is the selectmen, because it's really your job. I just do it, and always have.
$1,100.
That's for the whole year, yes.
There you go.
Thank you. I will make a copy of this with this on it so that you can have it for your records, okay?
Anything else? That's it?
That's it for me.
Thank you. Anything?
Just quickly, the company is coming tomorrow to install the fire extinguishers and the emergency lighting in this building and the townhouse. That's supposed to be done annually.
Okay.
Do you need somebody here to walk around?
I'll be
Do you need
here. Oh,
somebody?
no. Thank you.
Rick and I are going to a conference tomorrow, so if you
I
need
could
help,
be here.
if you need help.
I'm retired now. Mostly. So
Again?
Don't flunk this time.
Anything on the planning board? They didn't meet, they meet this week, right?
Meeting.
Nothing new to report. The next meeting is this Thursday, the 16th at 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Code enforcement.
Nothing to report on that.
Road agent, any more for us?
I will provide you with a list in the next day or two of all the things I want to achieve before hard frost sets in, just so you know what I'm up to.
You got a bunch of culverts down there.
Yes, some of that's stock, some of that's be ready, you know, in case we, you know, just, it's good to have some.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Is there a street light out down there?
Is there a street light out?
Yeah, at the salt shed.
Oh, I don't think so.
It's on, we just turned it off.
Oh, okay.
No, there's one that, generally, there's one,
It hasn't been on.
it hasn't? Okay, I'll look into it, you know.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's no one going in there yet. It's on the switch, and what they do in the winter, they leave that sucker on. But lately, because we're traveling so early and it's getting dark so early, we notice it's out.
How about the community shed? Do we have enough in there?
I mean, if somebody needed some sand now, but I gotta get some things moved out of there.
I got you. It's not like we're in the heart of it, it's to make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move along. Conservation Commission, we have a letter, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We have a letter.
I'm in hopes that the selectmen will appoint Peter Baker as a new alternate.
Yes, that was the letter you sent us. Yes.
That's a letter I sent to you.
So Peter Baker came, I guess he came to the last conservation meeting, I wasn't there.
Oh, yeah.
And the board, Conservation Commission recommends that we appoint him as an alternate, I think your letter says.
As an alternate.
So I'll make that motion that we appoint Peter Baker as an alternate to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So Lori, would you draft a letter to the Conservation Commission saying we approve that? I guess we should copy Mr. Baker also.
Yeah. Well, if you email it to me, I'll take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing is, we had one of our members this past week attend the convention of the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions. So I will be giving you his expenses, which is $75 for attendance, and then whatever the mileage is. Do you know what the mileage compensation rate is?
46 cents a mile.
46?
Yes.
Oh, he thought it was 100. No.
That was nice of him to think that.
He was just joking.
Sure.
But this was a new member also, Mr. Nielsen. And it's heartening to find new people that we're bringing on that want to broaden the scope of the Conservation Commission by getting some education.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Good, thank you. Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah, Mary Lou Heritage?
Heritage Commission. So we had a Veterans Day dinner last Saturday night on Veterans Day, which was nice that it fell on the actual day. We didn't have as many people this year, but we had 34 people and lots of good food. So thank you to all who attended, to everyone that helped, certainly to the selectmen for helping, and to Ed for always coming and helping. I appreciate it, and Craig Evans, and then everybody always just pitches in and helps. That's a nice thing. I thought again, Rich's comments on Veterans Day were nice, and then the program that the musicians did just adds a final touch, and thank you all for coming. It's wonderful to see at least one veteran always dressed in his uniform every year. So.
Yes, Doug.
Yes.
Even if he talks to the Pledge of Allegiance.
For the first time in ever, he's missed the Pledge of Allegiance.
I know.
He's not going to believe his wife when she tells him.
But you know what? It's always nice to see a good turnout. We certainly appreciate and honor all those that have given of themselves for our country and for our town. Thank you.
Okay, you're finished?
I'm done.
I want to go back to conservation. We put out, Craig Evans helped us put out some requests for proposals on conservation. We got, I think, 2 back. It's been a while. Could you tell me where they are? I guess it's time to take a look at those in public and see what they say.
Do you want them now?
Yeah, because Dick's here.
Okay.
Before-
They're in the middle cubby.
Oh, that's right, I remember. Because it is getting to be budget time also. I think we sent out 10 of these, 10 requests for proposals. We got 2 back, and you sent email and hard copy.
If I could though, that isn't going to affect the budget. If we pay for it, it's not going to affect the budget because it'll come out of the trust fund,
That's true.
right?
Yes, if it comes out, if it comes out of the trust fund, that would be excellent.
Well-
You want to know how much it is?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we won't do it.
Well,
Maybe just supplement, maybe?
the 2 we received back is Ossipee Mountain Land Company, West Ossipee, New Hampshire, and Forest Land Improvement from Chicora. They're the 2. Let me just get you to the, I'll get you to the bottom line number ones. If I can find it. Okay, the one from Ossipee Mountain. $4,200. The one from Chicora, Forest Land Improvement, $2,500. Or $10 an acre, 25. So they're the 2 proposals that we received back. I'd be glad to give this to the Conservation Commission for them to look at, if you folks are all right with that.
Good idea.
Would you like to look at these?
Sure.
Okay, there.
Well, the reason that we're proposing this is that we need a plan for that 250 acre parcel before we can apply for a grant from the Fish and Game Department. That's all we're doing.
They made that clear at the meeting, so.
So
First step is get this-
$2,500, I think we would probably approve that or try to get that because it's only a paper type thing. We're not going to go out there and do a big program physically to restore the property.
Right, I think I don't know what's included in that
Yeah.
forest. We didn't read them. We just filed them and didn't want to peek.
Okay. We'll go over them.
And Diana's making a
We'll
copy.
make our recommendation.
Good.
But it's really a step trying to get more money out of the state for that property. Wildlife management.
Well, they came and met with the conservation. They came and met with the Conservation Commission.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Were willing to work with us.
Right, so they explained what the conditions were.
Okay.
Because the conservation fund right now, at the end of last year, it was 4720 in there. You're looking to probably up to 5,400 in your expendable trust, so.
Yeah. Yeah, we get out 13 cents a month.
That's what it was.
Yes, you do. Interest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we were agents to expend or not.
Yes, I believe you are.
On that trust?
Yes.
So no warrant article.
Yeah, we can't do it, you have.
If we're agents
Right.
authorized, okay. Cemetery trustees. We met, had a meeting, working on.
We had a meeting last Thursday. And we're working on sending out for proposals to do a 30-foot half-round area for build a wall and fill for the memorial.
And that's been staked out?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was staked out a while back.
And we tried to send the proposals out to local contractors also.
Yes, we did.
Some of the feedback that we received was we weren't advertising it well enough locally. So we went out to,
We sent it out to local contractors. We did get one back previously that was pretty high.
from Wolfbrook. And you want to talk about the ZBA?
Yes. The ZBA had a meeting Thursday also.
Yeah.
There was no decisions being made. It was more of a procedural meeting where they were going over their, they were trying to update their procedures manual. It was pretty outdated. So they made a lot of inroads there. There's a lot of takeaways for that, and so they're going to be seeking some advice from legal counsel. They were either going to email me their questions, and they're going to have me go to counsel, or I think Frank Frazier may have just done it on his own. So but that was it. And they just some small little deals. They took care of house cleaning, but it was not an actual ZBA hearing. How's it?
Yeah. Okay, old business. I don't think I have any other boards or committees. Yeah. We're going to go to old business. You want to talk about the roof?
We had a gentleman that was lined up to do this roof on this building. He was shooting for October. I was in touch with him mid-October, and then just this past week I said, all right, October's over. Where are we? And he gave me the news that he fell off a roof and broke his heel. So he said that he will be hopefully mended up by spring, and we'll be on the top of his list if we still want to go ahead and get the roof done, which we will, and his quote was very good. So I told him I'd follow up with him once the snow clears and we can try to get on the list and get this roof done. But you know, stuff happens.
And
Town coffee, the 25th.
yeah. Yep. 25th.
Even though it's Thanksgiving week.
Yeah. Messages.
I bought decaf coffee.
Okay. We talked about the tumble down sign, the forest plan bids. I wanted to thank Sarah Strauss for working on the newsletter. That went out. That was a good job. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah Strauss.
I'll take it home for her.
Thank you. I wanted to get you before you left.
She can watch it on Ed TV.
That's right.
And before we get into bills and mail, is there anything else you want to talk about? There is something that I want to bring up. I want to give you guys a shot first.
Go ahead.
We had this past June, May, we had a proposal about upgrading our website. And we said we'd wait to the end of the year to see where we stood financially. And it's my opinion that we're going to have to take the step someday. And they were offering us then a deal where we would pay for it over 3 years. It was, I think, a $5,000 bill then, so if it's the same price, it's 5,000 divided by 3. I think we should do it. Someday we're going to have to do it. The roof fell through, so timing-wise, it's a good time to start the journey of a new website if we're going to continue to have a website. Because someday the software's obsolete and we have to bite the bullet. So we'll either do it now or wait till later. So I'd like to...
We had earmarked around $10,000 for the roof, right?
8, yeah.
Well, no, I thought we had 10
I
years.
know, we had 10,
but we were going to get it done for a little
8.
over 8. And that money is just going to get rolled back into Neverland. I don't think it hurts to maybe get a contract from them, take a look at it.
Great.
You want to make a request again for an update on what his proposal was last summer?
Sure, we can do that, but we have to have it. Oh, you have it? You have it? Okay.
Do you want it now?
No.
Okay.
We have to make a decision soon, because we have to pay the invoice by the end of the year if we're going to do it this year. So, okay, did you look at the proposal? Is there changes, or you just asked for an update?
I just asked for an update.
Okay, so why don't we look at it, it's in there, and we'll make a decision the next meeting.
Okay.
Did he give us an updated price, or is the price the same? I don't know. Would you check? Would you please check? The way it was working is we paid for the upgrade, but the annual maintenance didn't change, even though we had new software. And they host it for us. So we don't need any hardware or whatever. Okay, that's what I wanted to get, it's on my list. Talked about coffee. Good. Let's do the bills. Oh, you ordered some new items you wanted to spend money on.
I did. So since we just had a dinner, 2 items came up. One are the signboards that we have at...
He wants to make a motion.
He wants to make a motion already? I haven't even started?
Oh, finish.
Okay, thank you. So the signboards are lacking. You know, we have hardwares up here and they seem to get bashed and battered and everything. So I would propose, as we did on at least one side, if not 2 sides of one, we have 2 signboards that we could use. I would like to propose replacing the insides. I need to measure them, but the most expensive one for the largest size was $27.99 plus shipping.
$30.
Amazon.
For each side. So 2 per sign. So we'd have to have 4. Ooh. Now we're in the big bucks.
That whole section is replaceable?
Yeah, yeah. It screws in.
Oh.
We've done one, at least one side, or I can't remember if Lance and I did one side only or 2 sides, but.
So the whole assembly with the tracks
Yes.
attached is replaceable?
Yes.
And it accepts?
$27.99 plus shipping.
And
for the big one.
It accepts our letters?
Yes.
And numbers?
Yes.
You okay?
Well, I thought we had to replace the whole signboard.
No.
He was willing to do that after working it with once.
If that will bring us up to new, that's great.
The plastic is,
The plastic is fine, and they're weighted.
Yeah. So we have to have a motion to audit them?
We'll do that, that's petty cash, right?
Petty cash.
It's petty cash. So here's my other one. In the townhouse, we have those lovely old wooden tables that kill your hands and are so heavy, I can't lift them. I'd like to see about purchasing a combination of tables, probably 4 8-foot tables, and then Comeau has some 6-foot tables, so I'd like a combination of some of those. And we could do, this could be debatable over the next couple meetings, but it'd be nice to get something in place. The 8-foot tables are $100, $99.99 at Staples. They deliver them here, so that's a deal for us. But
we bought 6 last year. Because we were
6?
really, I think
No,
we
we
only
didn't
bought
buy 6.
What a pile.
Did we buy 6?
think we got
No.
How many we buy?
We got a lot of plastic tables over there now.
Well, anyway, we
Either way,
bought some,
so-
we bought some last year because they're getting heavy and they're breaking them, and we thought we'd buy some more, and that's what Mary Lou's proposing.
So 4 more, $400.
So 4 more, replace all the
Heavy.
You know, I'd kind of like to just replace whatever's left in big old wooden tables,
And then just sell those things off for $10.
or donate, or whatever.
Maybe we can trade them to someone.
Wainscoting on them.
He has some 6-foot plastic.
He has some 6-foot.
Maybe we can give him some 8-foot weights.
Don't want any more stuff.
All right, so the question is.
So will the Heritage Commission give us static on replacing the old style tables with
No.
new plastic?
No. Don't talk clapboards, but, you know, tables I'm okay with plastic.
But we need to be consistent.
Yeah.
All right. The only problem with the Mary Lou, I don't know if there's different grades, the new ones are cracking. If they're not handled properly, when they come down on the side, when they crack.
Really?
Yeah, there's some splits in
Yeah,
there.
there's one or two of them that.
You gotta be gentle, so I don't know whether there's different quality.
Yes, there are different qualities. So maybe I check further and
Yes.
see what we can do. Okay.
When they're dropped, they spread. And people drop them.
Yes.
If you can find the same tables for less money at Sam's Club and BJ's, I'll pick them up.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
I
It
think-
just would
I
be,
think they're about $30 less.
okay.
If that's the case, I'll be happy to pick them up.
Good night, Becky.
Deliver for free.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, that's it for me.
Any other, before we do bills and mail?
Are we gonna do the hot water tank this year?
I should call him. Again, I put it on his list. I think he measured it.
He came in, you thought, right?
Yeah.
You wanna follow up with him?
Yeah. Yep.
Good to get that done too.
If we can. All right, let's do the bills. I didn't have a chance to open them all, so. Yes, gentlemen, good night. Good night.
Right.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Thanks for coming. Oh, here's a bill. No wonder he's here. We just have to look at to make sure there's no corruption. We got this, I don't know what this is. This is for Morris. That's trash. That's just gotta be signed off on. What is this? We opened those a while. And I don't know what this is. I didn't open the mail.
Bank statement. Meredith is a bank statement.
Yeah, but this is, I don't know what this is. You have to check those, make sure that you don't see any funny transactions. We have to initial them and give them the Mary Lou. I was looking at what you shared with us. We had a lot of extra income this year.
Yes, we did. So,
What's up with George Nick?
because he didn't give us anything, so he just gave me June. Now I insisted he give me for new.
Okay, yeah, you said, yeah.
So we got that 28,000
Yes.
from the state.
Yes?
I thought that we put that in the Moose Mountain
Bridge.
Bridge.
Right.
But it has to be spent next year according to the. Okay, just mention it.
Tough. Let's see your progress. Oh, God. What's your proposal? That's for you anyway, Mary Lou, that's right. Lucky you're retired. See what she says. Here's some more.
I did it.
Well, here's a bill.
Government. One and a half to 6 hours to complete.
Government.
Government.
Should take about a half hour.
It says attention the clerk. Can I give it to Virginia?
Sure.
Bill from White Mountain Oil. We have a credit.
We have credit?
205.
Check it.
Payment, oh, I'm sorry, no, I'm sorry. We have a zero balance. I don't know why they're sending us a zero balance, but I'll let you have it anyway. We paid our 205.
Yes.
Okay.
That's not credit, so that's our.
Mary Lou, I have a question. We pulled $400,000 out of profile.
Look at Meredith.
Should be Meredith. We have 400,000 going in. That's
Yes.
the same.
Yes.
This is just a notice from the New Hampshire Municipal Association for your class you're holding tomorrow. over in Radisson,
There's another one?
right? You guys know this?
Yes, we're meeting here and leaving tomorrow morning early. Get there for breakfast. We don't miss many. Oh, that's what I gave to Richard. Is this for you, Mary Lou?
Yes.
Yes. Acronym.
What do you do with these?
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, yeah, we have two. We should have two.
Two.
One check or two.
Should we give them to who? What
Give
do
them
we
to me.
Give them to you?
I'm assuming they're Virginia's, but I'll look it up.
It looks like car registration checks. Yes, we don't see those very often in town. That's good.
You want to leave the bills into the record here?
Yep, let's hear on the bill.
10 construction, work on Bryce Drive, parking areas off of Lyford, edge parking lot, grade Lyford, below sides of road, and storm cleanup, $6,072.50. American Security Alarm System, monitoring fee from 11, right, so we're paying a year, 11/1/2017 through 10/31/2018, $360.
That's for our alarm system.
Please reimburse Craig Evans. He fronted money to buy 125 archival folders with shipping and vital records of Tufnenborough and Brookfield, a book he purchased. A total of 101. Craig Evans bill for archival processing, total of 6.5 hours at $20 an hour, $130 bill. CMP home and property maintenance, mow approximately half of Newtown Cemetery, $75. Avatar Associates of New England, they are a software provider for our assessing, $1,653.70. Legal bill from Mitchell Group, $336. That's for Rose. Mileage to and from Brookfield to Concord and return, Rosacker, $52.44.
I can't pay it on, with the payroll program, does it process mileage correctly? So I need to do a separate check.
Town clerk expenses for July, August, September, which includes predominantly mailings and a little bit of mileage. $76.48. Here's our Gaffney Library invoice, $7,000. Fairpoint Communication, $42.16. Fairpoint Communication for Internet, $84.01. Oh, I did it backwards? Okay.
Yeah, that's why I was looking.
Sorry, got it backwards. Our monthly school bill, $70,554. Dame Electric, troubleshooting our generator. Service call, $100. Another half hour of labor, $60, and then parts, $116.23 for a total of $246.23.
And I'm not sure it's working properly.
That's awesome.
Someone's got to test that. When no one's here.
We need to lose power.
You were here, right? You were having a problem with the generator, Ed?
So, I know one day I came, and it was running, this was before the storm, but it was running. I called you, you said, go shut it down. So I did, and it shut off. And then I came in, and who was in here?
Lance and Frank?
Yes.
Yes.
And so I said, well, that's easy, we can test that. I went and flipped the switch, cut the power to the town,
Yeah, that's what we talked, yeah.
and it didn't come on. But I think you suggested it was because I cut the power in
On the
here,
wrong side.
wrong side of the generator.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Okay, so we don't know. That's fine.
It doesn't make, you should, I would think if,
You gotta turn it off right by the meter. You gotta, there's a,
it should be on the other side. It should, I believe, it should be on this side of the main breaker. But I don't know for sure.
okay, so we don't know. Fine.
We don't know.
Last bill, our Carroll County annual bill, $131,144.
That's it. Okay. Make a motion? I'll make a motion, we pay the bills as read.
Second motion.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Thank you. Sign these. We did the mail, there was no mail. When
It
you
was
have-
just that one New Hampshire municipal thing.
That's for you? Yes.
Is that New Hampshire municipal thing, does that say we're signed up?
No.
No, it's just a more or less a notice.
We'll try to sign up after breakfast.
They'll probably give us a hard line on that.
Yeah, I think so too. Cory, did we get many budgets submitted yet?
No.
No.
Did the ZBA get theirs? And I asked them, they said it to them.
I have to look.
Okay. They said the same as last year. I'm like, well.
Ditto, and we can do that.
That's fine. They're done.
I want to say I have like 5 maybe.
Oh, you have 5 already?
This is a reasonable town as possible. You know, but not a-
Are they handy or?
No, I think it's, Ed, let me ask you this, Ed. Mary Lou ask. No?
Yes.
With the 918 request that we have from Dick Peckham, he's requesting legal bills and surveys back for like essentially 5 years. It's a reasonable amount of time is the standard in order to get him the information.
You have 5 business days to reply to him.
Right, we've already replied.
Then
It's a reasonable amount of time. That's a lot of digging.
It doesn't specify how much time you have to gather that information.
Right.
But it's reasonable if you wait a really long time.
Oh, yeah, that's why it would be a reasonable standard, but, so, okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure on that. That's what I thought.
Can you split those out? Mary?
Yeah.
Okay.
You mean like legal from surveys and,
And
is
legal-
that what you're talking,
and
splitting?
no,
And
the
by
legal-
year?
The legal, no, it doesn't matter. You didn't ask for a year, but legal fees.
Legal fees are always a difficult one because we don't always get a separate account for Bryce Drive. So I'll look through
And
them.
there's been a lot of
And some things,
phone calls to her too about that, and it's not, there was litigation initially with Stengel, and there's been a lot of phone calls, so it's gonna be almost skimming
You
some
think
line items.
5 years is
Yep.
enough time?
I think it's been 5 years, yeah.
Okay.
Then you, right, we should give him the legal fees too. Remember the court fees and the legal fees, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what he asked for.
Yeah, give it all.
I'll have to go up in the
Attic.
attic. So I only have the current year and the past, in 2016 at home.
All right, if you need help going through those, let me know. I can come. Okay.
All right, how are we going to attack the budget this year?
Ed, you got a question? What's the matter?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Let me ask right up front, are you going to put the warrant articles together, or you want me to do it this year?
I got them on my laptop.
I know you do, just make sure we understand who's doing them.
I got them, dude.
All right.
I'll do them.
Go back to Mary And
You want
Lori
me-
just pulled in, yes, the budgets that have been submitted, let's get those out of the way. How do you want to do it, Mary Lou? You want to give them to you? You got a
Yeah.
computer? Oh, Dr. Marsh, town clerk, whoa.
Town clerk?
Be still on hard.
It must have been one of those days when her computer was down, she was able
Wow. All right. So,
Let's do the ones we have right there and get them out of the way. I don't think there's any. And then maybe we'll.
oh,
do-
this is the tax collector, and I am the town clerk.
Yeah.
Wow, they remember this efficient. I mean, isn't that great?
So let's do the ones you have.
Okay.
And then maybe look at the income.
All right, so, here we go.
You have to lead us to page number or whatever. Or you lead us on this, so.
I will.
Okay.
Let me get there. Oh, please.
Mary Lou, can you PDF this to Lori so that we can have a draft on our website for the town to see as we work on it?
Yeah. That's no problem.
Just make sure it's draft, right?
Yeah, it says draft proposed 2018 budget at the top. So we'll just,
Make sure it's, yes, I understand. Okay, that's good.
is that it? And it's on every page.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay. So I do have one problem. My budget things that I always replace every month is missing.
I
from the-
took it.
Okay.
I'll tell you what
Are
happened.
you returning it?
Yes, I'll tell you what happened. We used it.
Oh,
Scary, how we used it to look at where we stood.
okay.
So I'll get it back to you, but yes, I took it. Well, okay.
I went to replace it tonight. Couldn't find it. All right, so let's start with, actually, we could start with the town clerk.
Okay.
She's first up.
Either give us an item number, an accounting number.
Page 5,
Page 5, thank you.
4152.
Page 5. This is the first time you've done this, so we're gonna make sure we're not losing you along. So, 4152, which is right up top.
Yep.
And we've asked for people to give us, buy these items.
But that's assessor clerk, I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong
No,
one.
4140.
I gave you assessor clerk, I just saw clerk.
All right, which page went on now?
414,
414, oh, we're backing it up.
that's page 3.
Page 3. Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right, so town clerk, 14,000 for the salary.
So
Deputy,
we're
she
going to-
has 1,800, which should be fine.
So that's gonna be 14.
Oh,
What's wrong?
well, oh, she's totally done this differently.
Yeah.
So dues, conferences, and workshops is now 1,000. Actually, her budget came down a little. So the rest of this, she doesn't have anything in mileage. So I'll have to put something in there. I'm gonna have to work on this because she's,
She would fall the same.
no, she did not. So I'll have to work on this. Her total budget this year is 17,856, according to what she has, but that may not work because she doesn't have anything for mileage, and we're paying her mileage
But
this time.
we just signed a mileage check tonight?
So she always does mileage, so it's unrealistic to think she wouldn't.
But she didn't put mileage on her input?
Right.
Right. All right, so let's go to.
You know, she's gonna be putting mileage on it.
What?
She's gonna be putting in her mileage.
Okay, so let's go down to the tax collector. She always does this differently too, so this may not work real well. So she's 4151. And her salary is 14,000 as well. 800 again for the deputy. So dues and workshops, she has 2, 3, 4, 400 for that. So this may be similar. It's a little different too. And then mileage is 100. Tax lien, she has 625, so 750 for that, which is what she had before.
Doesn't look like it's changing.
Her software, she doesn't list. Oh, she does list 1550, that's not realistic.
For what, software?
For the software, because it's already up to 1645. So I'll have to get that, and we usually get a bill for that before the end of the year, so I'll know that.
The bill we got tonight was for
No,
assessing?
Assessing.
That was the.
It's a two-sided deal.
We get both those pieces of software from Avatar yet.
And so software, and then her expenses.
What'd she do for expense?
So 5.
Shall I ask you to put it in the right format?
No.
See when we try to get people to use these formats?
It's okay.
This is what the state wants, and now we're here, we're trying to make the budget balance. This isn't the first time we've done this.
Unfortunately,
So is she changing from this format to another one? And then-
She uses a different set of,
You know what, they all break out, like she breaks out 2 cases of tax bills, $100, handling $10, envelopes, instead of just giving me a total for expenses. So that's what makes it difficult. And they don't look back at what the expense for the software is, so they don't know that. And then she breaks out like how many certified letters she'll have and overweight letters. So
I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I'll have it for you. How about I have it for you at the next meeting?
And thank you for doing that, but it makes it a lot easier for everybody if they use the state format.
It's okay. So let's go down to ZBA.
Well, the ZBA, I bet it's gonna be easier.
Yeah, they're easy. So they're 4192. Oh, they took it down a little.
Oh, really? Someone told me, staying the same.
And he's staying the same as last year. So he did 300 for the administrative assistant. The expenses are 200. Public notices 300 and 400 for dues and workshops. So their total.
I leave it the way it was.
You'd leave it the way it was?
I can't, how can he predict on the administrative assistant fewer hours? So I would just,
She had a few this time.
Yeah, so I would just leave that whole budget.
The way it was,
The
at
way it was.
1,500?
It's only 1,500, I'd rather just keep it there.
Yep.
All right,
So
I'll
just
change it.
move that over. If
All
they
right.
if they don't meet, we don't spend it.
Right.
So that's done. Thank
Not
you.
much of that. So then if you go down
Thank
to
you, Paul.
the ones that I could fill in, go down to 4415, the health agency. So that'll be towards the end, 4415.
Page 8,
Yes, the
bottom.
bottom of page 8. So we got a letter from Northern Human Services. They are requesting $358.
You're doing 441 what?
4415, health agencies,
Now, these are all,
outside agencies.
these are all grant money. There's no obligation to do any of this. This is where people say, help me. So, go ahead, Meredith.
Okay, so Northern Human Services did not request money in time, as I recall, last year. This year, they're requesting $358. Central New Hampshire VNA and Hospice is requesting $1,500. Meals on Wheels is requesting $1,000, and Medication Bridge said last year he wouldn't need money this year, so he's at 0. Then Tri-County CAP, which is 4445, vendor payments and others.
Now, before you go on to that.
Yes, sir.
Can we explain what we get for these numbers? Meal on Wheels, like in the past we could say how many people in Brookfield were participating. Did they give us that information this year?
I don't believe they did because I got it like late last year.
I'm trying to get ready to someone challenging you. Where's the money going?
So you know what?
Well, we've done it in the past, but they were late. If you don't get it in, you don't get the money. So usually they tell us how many people in Brookfield they serve a year.
So what does it say? She did not give me a breakdown, but I could ask her for it.
Please do.
And I did forget to bring VNA and Hospice numbers with me, but I have those. And actually, we were up quite a bit this year on patients served and visits made.
It's good.
So
we should see those numbers.
Sure. And then, so then if you go down to 4445, Tri-County CAP, she did send the numbers.
Now
This is fuel assistance and electrical discounts.
And this is marvelous. We give them $4,000, and they pay. This is what their documentation says. They pay out to
47 households, $26,677.61.
I don't know how they can take $4,000 and make it $26,000 for fuel and electricity for Brookfield residents.
Because you got to think too, if they weren't doing it, we'd be getting hit up with a lot of welfare.
I understand.
So, no, but that's what I'm saying. That's the beauty. It's $4,000.
But I don't know how they do it.
Is there any county or state money that comes in?
Oh, sure. They get federal money.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they're the ones that are the local, as I recall, they're the local FEMA
That's how to do it.
agency.
Okay, well, I never knew they were getting help from somebody else.
Oh, sure.
So we put it.
They're the local
4,000
FEMA.
and the rest is.
Grants from the state, sounds like.
And FEMA.
So then we get
I think they're the local
26,000.
FEMA agency. And then the Wakefield Food Pantry is requesting $2,000 again. Now, he sent me all their numbers for last year. He indicated to me recently in a conversation we had that they weren't going to ask for any more because it was covering the cost of Brookfield at the 2,000 of the people that they serve in Brookfield. But I could get numbers from him if you're interested in that.
I think words like that are fine. If they just split it out for the Brookfield share, that's excellent.
Yeah. And then they're also now going to Middleton possibly.
Well, Middleton might participate.
They're including Middleton, and so they're going to ask them for some money as well. The interesting thing with the food pantry was, in our conversation, he brought up that the number of retired people has diminished. You may have seen the article by Tom Baylor in the paper. What's now their primary focus are younger people under 21 who are a lot of single mothers that no longer have any way of supporting their young babies and children. And so that's where that piece of the food pantry has increased 30% in the last year. So that's a lot of...
And this has repeated itself up in Ossipee and other towns also.
Yeah.
Younger people are concerned.
Yeah. So the only other number you don't have on yours...
Should I ask where they live? I mean, they don't live home, obviously. They don't live with parents anymore. They live in apartments or...
Yeah, that was the impression I got. So.
Okay.
The only other number I got this evening on the way here was Gaffney Library was requesting 14,300 this year.
I say 14,000. We're not getting nickel and dime right now.
So it could be a discussion to be had at a later date.
Yeah.
What do you think of the library?
That's my 2 cents.
I don't use it very much.
Yeah, I own a computer.
I'll put the number in and we can discuss it.
Put in 14,000. I agree. When we started this 6 years ago, it was $2,400 less. And I went over and talked to her about how many people in Brookfield use the library. And I said we'd be better off paying the non-resident rate than 14,000.
Well, the answer isn't how many library cards we have. Can we get a number of how many uses we get?
I don't know. We just have the cards. I don't think how many people are from Brookfield.
A lot of people have cards that I'll just...
Yeah, they're nice to carry.
Yeah.
But they're keeping it, who said it? Do you say they keep creeping it up?
Yeah, it's been every year. It's always going up. That's why I said we tell them, well, we're holding for under 14 grand.
Right. She also offered to come to the meeting if we'd like her to come.
She came last year. We, you know.
Yeah.
I'll say they do a nice job over there, but it's just, it's like,
Is it a public library or is it a private library?
Public.
It's a private library.
Is it private?
it's private.
They're all private.
The public library is up by the Wakefield Church. That is the public library in Wakefield. The Gaffney Library.
I did not know that.
The Gaffney Library is a private library that's open to the public. But they get, I think they get close to $100,000 from the town of Wakefield to run it. So Wakefield kicks in a fair amount of change. All right. Anything else, Mary?
Oh.
You got another one? So that's staying at 14.
Okay, so,
That'll be a 4 fight.
okay. That's probably it for now, and then we'll fill in other stuff as we get it.
You want to look at revenue?
Yeah, let's see what's getting revenue.
We were very fortunate with a lot of revenue this year. Look
So
at it.
then you'd start at 3120 land use change taxes. Do we know how many people are?
We're on first page. We're doing revenue.
Page 1.
Page 1. Page 1. And this is the revenue that we're predicting. It's a crapshoot. Land use change taxes, current use changes. We had 10,000 in last year, 27,000 we actually realized.
Wow, that's nice. A lot of stuff came out of current use, huh?
It all came out of current use, goes onto the tax rolls. So what's coming out now? What can we predict?
Do we know? Do we have any idea?
It's almost impossible.
I know of about $5,000 that will be issued right after the first of the year.
Okay.
The lot didn't exist when the bills went out in April, so.
Oh, I remember Jessica telling me
Yeah,
about
so
that.
that's 5,000 for sure we're getting. What else? I don't know.
What, it was put 15,000 there?
Sure.
It was starting off with a place marker of 5, then.
Yep, sometimes we come in low, but it's, all right, 15.
Yield taxes are, we have 8,000 in there and we're at 7250 so far.
So we stay at 8?
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. That's mostly logging, a little bit of gravel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of trees.
So then the penalties and interest, we usually do property tax interest at about 5,000.
I'd leave it 5,000. I'd leave the one before the yield tax at 0 and let's count 5,000 again.
Yeah.
And then the lien interest is about
Here's
16,000.
another one, we got some nice money this year.
We still have a couple of, well, actually, we'll get quite a bit of lien interest.
We're still carrying $150,000 worth of back taxes.
Yeah.
So I guess I'd take that up.
To 10,000.
Yeah.
10,000, I mean, we're carrying that tax, they're paying interest on it, it's a good investment. Can't get that anyplace else.
I'm sorry to see that, though.
No, we don't. Fortunately, they pay it all by the end of 3 years. But it's a great investment. We can't get that in the bank.
Right. Then 3220.
I would take that up also. This is through the end of October,
Yeah.
So we've got a few more months, this is pretty nice.
So 130,000?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
All right.
Building permits are at 5,000. People building?
They stop now.
How much did we pull in this year?
6281 so far, through October.
So I would say at least that, I would do that again, hold that number.
The 5,000 or the 6,000?
6,
All right.
because I'm thinking of a couple of projects.
Okay, give you guys some information.
I mean, I think, you know, people are talking, it's still, I have faith the economy's gonna be good.
All right, if you think so, we'll put 6, that's good.
Then we go down to category 3290, other licenses, permits and fees. Dog licenses. We usually keep that at about 500.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's in the noise, right?
And the
Fines
fines
are
are 0. Landfill permits, is this the year we get new ones?
I think so.
Yes. Oh, yeah, 2018 is the expiration, January.
Yeah.
So then we usually get more. I'll have to go back and look at.
I'll just double it. Make it 10.
Do you think double?
Well, you got 200 households. You got 200 households in town.
Yeah.
If everybody has 2 cars, that's 400, that's 400 times 5, is it?
Yeah.
It's 2,000.
You can put stickers on more than one car.
For my numbers, I said that, but I don't think that's realistic, so I put 1,000 in there, done.
All right. Others are the boats and things, so we could start putting some money in that. We got 500, and that's also, other is also like when she does marriage license, certified copies of death certificates, marriage licenses, and birth certificates.
So let's put the 500 in there.
Okay.
Because now she can do boats and stuff like that.
So then we go to line 3352, room and meals tax.
3352.
The 36,440 that's out there to the side is what we're actually getting this year. Remember, this is money that I get the last week of December. We never know how much it is. They keep saying it's going down. We could put in 30,000 if you think.
What is the state gonna give us this year?
We don't know. Oh, they're gonna give us the 36,440.
Next year.
You don't.
I don't know what they're gonna give us.
So I'd go back.
I don't find out actually till Michelle and I did this in the tax rate setting process. Then at that point, she knows what we're getting.
So let's put 30.
You're not getting anything, you're getting a disbursement, a
Thank you.
redistribution.
How much are we gonna get dispersed on the highway block grant?
So I know the first 2 quarters,
On the block grant you do?
yeah, but I don't know the last 2.
It's not linear.
No. Goes down. So it's dropping from 9,949.31 to 6,000
So 9 and 9.
per quarter.
So 9 and 9 and then 6 and 6?
No,
No, it was 6 and 6 and then something?
yep, something.
6 and 6 is 12. And then it goes down?
And then it goes down.
15, is that what you're saying? 15.
That's where it's probably heading for, right?
Other state grant and reimbursement, this is the money we got for the
Heavy sigh.
heavy side.
Are we
yes.
gonna get the hazard emergency bill?
Oh, the thing that Brad's on?
Brad's doing is, because this is where we get the 5,000 back. If we spend the
Well,
5,000, we'll wait to see, all right.
Well,
we'll
they
wait
hit
to
him up,
see
he goes, that's $5,000, that's real money.
Remember, we have to spend the 5 and then we get the 5 back. The 5 comes back here
It's the emergency management.
if we spend it.
Right.
If we don't spend it, we don't get it back.
I put a note to ask Brad about the
That's an
5,000.
other reimbursement?
Yeah, I think it's under, 59.
Yeah,
No.
3359.
Yeah. Oh, and that 28 is the the road work?
Yeah.
The bridge,
The bridge?
money we got from the state, extra money.
Okay.
Sale of municipal property, these are typically copies that are made, and anything else, when we sell those charming wood tables, think of the money we'll make.
Donate them. Write them off. Okay, so municipal property, we'll leave it at 500. And then investment and interest is gonna be up, I think it's gonna be up next year, I go 750.
I think that's, yeah.
Because those guys are getting more and interest rates are going up.
Interest rates are creeping
And
up.
I don't have, oh, I do have October in here. I did finish that one, so,
750 is a good number, yeah.
and that's usually where we ended until we do,
Okay.
until we do warrant articles. So that's at 222, 250.
What's our 22 to 250? Which
That's
one?
your total of the income we just put in.
Huh?
No, it's more than that.
I got 30,000, 15,000, and then other stuff.
Let me look.
30, 15 is 45 and change.
222,000. Did you give me?
Oh, you did the whole revenue line.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, that's, yeah, okay. At first, I just heard 22,000,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, okay.
Are we better?
Yes.
Yeah, nice one.
That was, that is up, I believe. Okay, I guess we're gonna stop here tonight, right?
Sure.
Do you want to do the selectmen?
Yeah, let's please all.
Okay,
Yeah, leave that.
that's fine.
We'll do this, at the next meeting, we'll do some more.
You save this one.
Hmm?
Save these.
Well, Mary Lou, tell us the process. You're gonna give us updated with numbers. She'll give us updated with numbers that we put in. If you're making notes on it, that's a different
Yeah,
issue.
yeah.
Anything else? The coffee's on to the end of the month. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks.
The Tuesday after Thanksgiving?
Tuesday after Thanksgiving this week.
The number for the website upgrade is 4,500.
Okay, so it's just, all right.
We're saving money.
So we just have to see if the features are they change.
Let's put it off a couple more months. Let's put it off a couple more months. We'll
We
get
No.
gotta drop it again.
to the 38th.
Can you put that on the agenda for next time, so we don't forget that? Thank you. Anything else? Any other public comments? Any? Meeting's adjourned, guys. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yes.
We're leaving tomorrow at 7:15. Breakfast.
7:15.